Vivi Loves Science, Wind and Water by Kimberly, DERTING and SHELLI R. Johannes. Pictures by Joelle Murray. Vivi listens to the wind howl. She watched the rain splash against her window. It was a stormy night, but Vivi felt safe and warm, tucked in her bed. "Did you hear the storm last night?" Vivi asked at breakfast the next morning. "Yes," said Vivi's mother. "It was a big one. I heard Ranger Earl needs volunteers to help clean up the beach," said Vivi's father. "Let's go." Vivi jumped up from the table. "Graham can come too." When Vivi and Graham got to the beach, they couldn't believe what they saw. There were bottles covering the dunes. There were cans on the sand, and there was debris everywhere. The beach was a mess. It also looked completely different. "Where are the tide pools?" asked Vivi. "What happened to the dunes?" asked Graham. "A big storm can change the shape of the land," Roger Earl explained. "But how?" Vivi asked. "Storms can cause erosions," said Ranger Earl. "What is an erosion?" asked Vivi. "Erosion is when natural forces such as wind or water move or wear away rock or soil," Ranger Earl said. "Erosions can change a coastline and create rivers and canyons." "Wow," said Vivi. "Like the Grand Canyon?" "That's right," said Ranger Earl. Vivi and Graham took a break to have a snack. Ranger Earl told them about other famous examples of erosions from around the world. Mammoth Cave, Elephant Trunk Hill, White Cliffs of Dover. "Erosions can happen very quickly, like with this big storm," she said, "or it can take a very long time, even millions of years." Miss Costello, Vivi and Graham's science teacher at school, was helping to clean up the beach too. "Hey kids," said Miss Costello. "Did you know that the storm filled in the tide pools?" Vivi asked her. "Ranger Earl told us how wind and water can change the shape of the land," Graham said. "Look at the new dunes. They were caused by erosion," said Vivi. "You got it," said Miss Costello. "Ocean waves are a powerful force, and so is the wind." Graham and Vivi worked hard to clean up the beach. They picked up the bottles, they hauled away the cans, and they collected the garbage. It took all day. Luckily, many people from the community pitched in and helped. The next day in science class, Vivi and Graham told their friends about how the beach had changed because of the storm. "Yesterday, Graham and Vivi learned about erosions," Miss Costello said. "Today, we will do an experiment to show us how wind and water can move sand." Miss Costello gave everyone a worksheet. She gave Vivi and Graham the materials for the experiment. They had 2 containers, sand, water, and a straw. "Earth science is the study of how the earth changes over time," Miss Costello said. "Wind and water are important forces on Earth." Graham dumped the sand into one container, making a small hill. "First, we will talk about water," he said. "Did you know that water erosion creates rivers and streams?" Vivi asked. "Water can also carve out caves and hills and make cracks in the rocks," Graham added. Vivi picked up a container of water. "Watch what happens when I pour water on the sand. I'm pretending to be the rain," she said. "See how the water ran down the hill?" Graham asked. "It pushed the sand out of the way and made a river." "That's erosion," Vivi exclaimed. That's so cool, said Mia. Grim dumped a pile of sand into the other container. Now we will talk about wind, he said. Did you know that wind helps make sand dunes at the beach? Vivi asked. And some sand dunes in the desert are thousands of feet high, Grim added. Taller than the tallest building in the world, Vivi said. This time, Vivi used the straw. She blew on the sand. I am pretending to be the wind, she said. See how the wind moved the sand? Grim added. Look, Mia pointed. The pile of sand changed shape. I think erosion is cool, Benji said. It is time, but sometimes erosion can be dangerous, said Miss Costello. For example, sand dunes are important because they keep water from traveling inland and flooding towns and homes. I bet that's why we can't walk on the dunes, Vivi said. Miss Costello nodded. That's right. We don't want to crush the plants that hold the sand dunes together. On Saturday, Vivi and Grim went back to the beach. Look, the tide pools are here, said Vivi. Good point. The wind and waves from the storm moved the sand in, Ranger Earl said, and the water from the tide took the sand away again. Without erosion, we wouldn't have the beach, Grim said. Vivi smiled. Without science, she said, we wouldn't know how things work. Science is the best. The end.